welcome back to my channel. Today, John and I are collaborating with Jessica and Kevin from The Waldock Way, and we are going to do a wrap and chat collab. So if you guys have a lot of Christmas presents to wrap this year, we've got 2 videos to give you guys a lot of time to just chit chat and wrap along with us. So Jessica and I both asked for questions online for each of us and our husbands. We're just gonna kind of pull it random from both of the questions that we both got and wrap some gifts. So it's a very casual, informal, probably a little bit disorganized video. What was I gonna say?
I'll mostly be sitting here because I don't know how to wrap at all.
Yeah, it's a very exciting day for John too, because not only are we collabing with our friends, but he's gonna find out what we got our kids for Christmas. Yes, okay, the other thing I was gonna say is I'm gonna try to just do this in one take. So I've already given John all the talking points of things he's not allowed to say in a video because he's not as practiced with like accidentally saying like our address or something like that. So we'll see.
I'll tell you guys where we live. I don't care.
All right. So let's get started.
All right.
Okay, so before I get into the questions, I'm actually going to try to get organized here. I was thinking, actually, before I get into the questions, I'll tell you why we're a little more disorganized than usual. This is the first day, poor John. This is the first day of his vacation. He took the week of Christmas off, and it's day 1, and he just got a phone call that one of his employees got into an accident in a company vehicle. Yeah. So we're a little stressed out. So we're also a little disorganized. But I was thinking, this paper for the boys, this paper for the girls.
That's really cute.
I'm handing it to you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not looking for feedback. I know it's cute. I don't need your approval. And then here's this. Scissors, tape, and yes, that should be good. Okay. So the first thing we're gonna wrap is actually something our kids are getting tonight. And this was actually a suggestion from some of you guys. The kids' big Christmas gift this year is a trip with their friends, and we're showing it to them, we're revealing it to them tonight instead of on Christmas Day, because we want to see their friends' reactions and our friends want to see our kids' reactions. So we're going to be giving each set of siblings this ARC Signs book and Creation Museum Signs book, and they're going to open those, which they're going to be excited about that, and then the kids are going to open their plane tickets, which I think they're going to be more excited about, that we're all in the same flight. Yeah. So yes, I wanted to tell you guys about this because I was so afraid my kids were going to find out what their trip was before, like through a friend watching my videos, so I didn't say specifically what it was, but a lot of you guessed on Instagram, and some of you recommended this. So ARC Signs, basically it's every sign that you'll read, every like placard, is that what it's called? Yeah. At both the ARC and the Creation Museum. And everyone just said like reading this ahead of time saves you a lot of time. So we're gonna wrap this up first, and while we do that, let me look up some questions. So let me get my text to Jessica here. You text a lot. Okay. First one is, how was the first encounter when we met, and how did it happen?
So
John and I
remember, okay, there's two different situations that of stories that I'll tell when this question comes up. And the first would be, not the first time I met Abby, but the first time I took notice of her at our high school. And it was, Abby was walking into the office, the administration office, and I was sitting on a bench outside. And she walked by, and she had on bell-bottom jeans and black Converse, and I thought that she was cute. And I thought she was like a cute chorus girl. So that's always what I say. And then she's like super wicked smart, and
we went to a visual and performing arts school, so it wasn't a long shot to assume I was a chorus girl.
And she was, but
I was a little rebellious chorus girl. I dropped out and switched to the visual arts program. Please tell my whole story and validate me. Okay. I'm not just a chorus girl.
No, she's good. But the first time we met would have been at Bible study at high school.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to hear your side of this story.
And I had just recently basically come back to Jesus.
Wait, I have to interrupt you. So the first time you saw me, I was probably 14. You thought I was a cute chorus girl. The first time I saw John, he had just broke
16.
Yeah, and he was like a skater punk. Looked just like Spicoli, literally identical. If I can find it, I'll throw a picture up here. Wore like tight blue jeans and like giant oversized shirts, and always had a skateboard at school. Again, art school. I feel like everyone had their skateboard at school. And he was sitting on a picnic table, obviously skipping class, when I walked in for another class, and he like waved to me. And I remember walking in, and I told my friend, Melissa, who ended up dating John before me, I said, I would never be his friend. I was like such a jerk, and it's so weird because I never said that about anyone, so I feel like that was God's humor, like making me say like what was in the depths of my heart, because in our vows, my first line was, the first time I met you, I swore I'd never be your friend. So that's the backstory, like, skater punk, and then we just say like we call it going to summer camp. He went to summer camp and came back all like hot and Christian. Okay, finish up on your side of the story.
Yeah, no, I definitely had an encounter with the Lord, and my life was different, and I was hanging around different people, and I went to our high school Bible study, and Abby happened to be one of the leaders. And when we were in class, this was on the south side of the campus before it was in the library, remember? And
no, it wasn't in the library from the beginning.
No, it was not.
Yes, it was. It was
remember, we were making bracelets. The first day we were making bracelets.
Nick was there the first day with the pizza.
Okay.
Nick was there.
She's wrong.
No, I'm right, because I started the Bible study and the librarian was our sponsor.
So anyway, yeah, I just thought she was cute. And so I started mimicking her. And every time she'd cough, I'd cough. And every time she'd sneeze, I would like fake sneeze.
It still doesn't work when he does that. He still tries.
And she turned to me and she said, what did you say? You said something like, are you
mocking me?
Yeah, are you mocking me?
Now I have to interrupt you again and give you the other backside of that story, because it's so ridiculous. So this guy, Nick, who's now actually one of the pastors at our church, happened to be there. He was first year of college, and he was like, it was Campus Life who was sponsoring the Bible study, so he would bring the pizza every week. And it was our very first week, and I had met him the week prior. And I mean, this is why I'm so thankful that the Lord just continues to refine you, because I thought I was like a solid in my faith then, and so far the two stories I'm going to tell you are just super judgmental. So like the first one is like, I'll never be his friend. And the second one, Nick gets there, he's got the pizza, I'm all like nervous, like first day of Bible study, can't wait to see what God's going to do on our campus. And John walks in, and I'm like...
I had a reputation.
He had a reputation, and I was like, Nick. I was like, he's just here for the pizza. Like, you need to make him go. He's just here for the pizza. You came with this other kid who was a troublemaker, and I'm like, they're just here to ruin this for me. And Nick was like, well, if he's just here for the pizza, that's a good thing. This is how people learn about Jesus. And I was just like, ugh. So I'm like walking around the room, and he starts mimicking me with the cough, and I'm like, see? And it's so funny because we were recently at a wedding, and like all of our pastors were there, and Nick was like, yeah, I knew them in high school. And I was like, do you remember the first thing I said to you? And he didn't, thank the Lord. But then I told him the story anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We
met in Bible study.
Pretty much it was fun.
And then again, so strong in my faith. Used Bible study as a way to break up with my boyfriend so I could date him. we coordinated it so we could be prayer partners. oh, it's so cringy. And I remember being like, okay, can you guys just give us grace though? Because I was 15, okay? We didn't know like any better. It's like, find a prayer partner. And my friend's like, Julie wants to be his prayer partner. I was like, oh, I'm and John's like, you know, just pray for me because I just feel like, sorry, I feel like this is the most embarrassing thing. I just feel like, you know, I shouldn't be dating this girl. I'm like, oh, that is so humble of you and like sacrificial, but you know, pray for me because I feel like I shouldn't be dating my boyfriend either. And he's like, oh, I will pray for you. It was so bad.
This is bad.
It's so bad.
Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. And do you need to take that phone call? It's work.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna pause the video. Okay, thankfully not as bad of an accident as we had been told initially. So that's positive. The business lives another day. Anyway, so yeah, that's the story of how we met. Long-winded, but worth sharing all the details of because if anything, it at least shows us how much the Lord has refined us over the years because we were a mess and we thought we were perfectly great. While he was talking on the phone with the insurance and all of that, I wrapped Willa here, Annie's welly wisher. So the next question is, do you wrap gifts from Santa? And as moms are running across their house scrambling to find their remotes because we might be on the big TV and it might not just be a quick pause, I'll answer. Santa comes to our house on St. Nicholas Day. That is how our family chooses to engage with him. And so John likes to say when we get asked this,
we give him Christmas Day off.
We give him Christmas Day off.
Yeah.
So Santa has already come to our house and he doesn't wrap the gifts. He puts them in their shoes.
We actually get better gifts.
He likes to bring the kids candy and books.
Yeah, we get better
typically.
Gifts. We don't make them work on Christmas Day like all you people.
Okay. So the next question is, have you ever considered putting your kids back in school because you can't afford to homeschool? Part 2, we don't feel God calling me back to work, but we are struggling financially. And I say that's 2 valuable questions in one, which is like, to like, one, affirm the fact that it's really difficult. And I don't know a family who hasn't at some point struggled financially or had to make sacrifices because they're a one income home. I think that's like and most homeschooling situations, it's something that we can all I don't want to say like commiserate on because I think there's a lot of joy in it, but agree on or relate to that we're single income families for the most part. So then like the other question in that is, have we ever considered putting our kids back in school either because of finances or other reasons? Like,
I would say too on the financial end too. I think just our personal story with that is we've had to make a lot of sacrifices. Like Abby said, I'm sure a lot of you have. We had to make a lot of sacrifices in order to make this single income household work. At one point I was working 3 jobs in order to bring in the money that we needed.
3 part-time.
Well, it was.
So I want to say that because
it was 3 jobs. So.
Yeah, I know. And I'm not saying that to discredit you, but just to like say, you know, that was the work that was available to us at the time, and
but it's so we wanted to do it.
Right.
We both really wanted to homeschool more than anything, and it's totally paid off. So the other half of the question being, have we ever considered putting our kids back in school? Not really. I would say no.
Yeah, I think it. I'm gonna let you talk.
Yeah, so I think one thing, you know what, just being like real.
Wrapping Annie's books now.
Being real, homeschooling is so hard.
Yeah.
It is such a sacrifice, specifically for the one who's educating the kids, mainly and primarily educating the kids. it's such a sacrifice, and it takes a heavy toll on your personal life. So I think, you know, I'm not taking away from the fulfillment of it, or, you know, the benefit that comes from homeschooling, which there's a lot of benefits, but it's just super hard. So knowing that it would be a heck of a lot easier sometimes for the kids to be in school is always, I think, a relevant thought.
Yeah, I think there's like moments of weakness where both of us, can I just be like honest about maybe like our triggers that maybe I say that? Okay, so I will get into seasons where, you guys know this from being on YouTube and working with Usborne and trying to help him out here and there, and then he owns 2 businesses, always has a lot going on, trying to give our kids some kind of like an evening extracurricular schedule, which has picked up steam this year. I will get very overwhelmed by the small things and then want to drop the big thing because I think that'll make life easier. And so that's kind of like my moment of weakness, is when like things aren't running smoothly at home, is like, I just want to stay back in school, I'd be a better mom, everything would be better, and they wouldn't have a crazy person raising them, and you know, and he's quick to be like, and I actually shared this on Instagram the other day, I was like, my twice annual, you know, tantrum phone call to John saying that I shouldn't homeschool anymore. And he's always been really good. I think he can maybe see the tension building too, of like, Abby's gonna make this phone call here soon, to just affirm like, listen, it's okay if you pause math and science for a week, like do puzzles with the kids, you know, read the Bible with them. These are the things that we value, and this is why we homeschool. And that takes the pressure off. He helps me reorganize our schedule. We are always reevaluating if things are worth our time. So we balance each other out in that way. John's thing is like, he values...
Well, can I say what my thing is?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, go for it.
It's hot on my mind.
I wonder if it's the same thing.
I don't know if it is.
I think I know better.
So my thing is, so she does Charlotte Mason's habit training. On the rails habit training.
On the rails.
On the rails. Off the rails.
We're off the rails.
What's it called for real?
Laying down the rails.
Laying down the rails.
We're off the rails. That's my thing.
So basically, the kids' habits. So like, I know, please tell me that some of you struggle with this too. I feel like I go nuts sometimes because the kids, if they went to public school, they'd have to be up by a certain time. They'd have to be dressed in a specific outfit that needed to be clean. They need to have everything ready for the day, right? Being at home, it's much easier, and it's not just the kids' fault. I feel like a lot of times I'll slack too, in regards to getting the morning going when I have my own stuff going on.
It's like a constant performance report, like based on the kids' behavior, you can tell if you've been lazy too. It's like, oh.
But so yeah, I would say that the kids' habits and their discipline, their self-discipline.
I'm wrapping Bella's books now, if you guys are interested. And
it's hard because then you don't want to encourage their disciplines and encourage their habits out of the anger that you're feeling because they don't have those disciplines or habits, or they're not well established. So then you have to do it out of love, but you're also like, if you don't clean your room right now, I'm gonna freak out.
Yeah.
You know, so it's hard. I think it's really hard.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that.
All right. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And within that, specifically the house, I think you manage, you know, quite a bit in your day at work. And so his thing is like disorganization at home. And so if for some reason we didn't do our afternoon contributions a couple of days in a row, it's not like hot-headed where it's like, the sink's full. But it's like when things are in disarray at home, it actually really affects a couple of our kids' behavior. It affects the mood of the home. And so it's just, the home can feel very out of control or reflective of our schedule or lack of habit keeping.
Right.
And so that would be more so, I think, like the thing that would be like, you know, I don't know, is this the right decision for our family, kind of a thing, like moment of weakness thought. And the funny thing is, there was one time where we were both kind of in that at the same time. usually it's like, I've got your back. I can be like, listen, you know, like they had a great day. They read the Bible for like 3 hours today. It was such a good, fruitful conversation. And he's like, okay, I get it. Like, that's so good to hear. Like, let me show you pictures of our school day. Ignore the mess. And like I said earlier, like he can remind me of what's valuable versus like the other things I want to give up.
Right.
But there was one time ever where you were kind of overwhelmed and I was overwhelmed at the same time, and I called you and I was like, and I don't know if you were maybe like trying out a different like approach to my meltdown. Maybe I had had a couple in the same week or something, and I was like, I just don't think I can do this anymore. I need to go to school. And I had called, this was a few years ago. I had called our local private school, our like backup school that we kind of held in our minds for years, just to see like, can you take mid-year enrollment and what's the fee and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, listen, I called the school and they said that they still have room in their classrooms. It was like probably 1st and 3rd grade at the time. And I was like really hoping he'd pick me up off the puddle I was in. And he was like, okay, all right, well, you know, we'll talk about it when I get home. And I was like, I remember being like, what? You're crazy, we can't put him in school. Why did you do this to me? You think I'm a terrible mom, blah, blah, blah. And so it was just like, even like if he were to affirm that, or I were to affirm that for him, our reaction would still be like, no, wait, what? We're super committed to this. We would never do that. So
at the time I was probably with UPS. And I was just burnt.
Yeah. Or you were just like, I'm so sick of my wife calling me and having the same conversation. So yeah. So yes, we have considered putting them back in school, and we have struggled financially at points because we had one income at the time. Okay, let's switch to something light.
That's a great question.
It was. And I think so many moms and dads can relate to that. Next question is...
Sorry if I keep messing with my hair. I don't know. I'm going through a crisis. I don't know what to do with it.
What are your favorite Christmas traditions with your family?
So we have a couple that are like long-standing.
John's favorite Christmas tradition is making fun of all the traditions that I have.
Facts.
Whose was this that I just wrapped?
I think it was Bella's. No, hers was Soul Surfer. So that was Annie's.
I think this was.
We have the Minivan Express, which is a hot item.
Which we don't have a minivan, but we still
Yeah, so we started it years ago.
We have the Traverse
and
Express.
we would have a night that Abby and I decided on. Well, first of all, in west of town where we live, there's a lawyer's office, and he owns like 5 or 6 acres. And on the property, he puts like hundreds of Christmas displays. And we're talking like, you know, giant whales that light up with a Christmas hat and a bunch of stuff like that. So we decided to do like a Polar Express night where randomly the kids will find a golden ticket. And Abby has a video on this actually, I think.
Well, I need to give credit where it's due. This was started by Confessions of a Homeschooler, and I will link it in the description box down below because she's the one who wrote a blog post years ago about surprising her kids, and they find it under their toothbrushes, and her golden tickets are the ones I print every year. You might not even know that.
Right. So yeah, then we, you know, the kids have like hot chocolate and popcorn ready for them, and we hop in the van and we go. And we roll the windows down and we'll loop around this property like 20 times. I mean, we have memories of like Abby,
when I was nursing Eli.
Abby unbuckling while I'm looping it to nurse Eli while the other two
just
look
like
at the
sitting
lights.
on the floor of the car.
Yeah, we go, it's like 2 miles per hour. We go around the loop.
Nobody's gonna be mean to you about that.
I don't care.
Okay.
Trolls. What am I looking for?
Can I have that paper, please?
So yeah, that's one thing we do. The other one is like the what else do we do?
So is that your favorite? That's the one that stands out the most?
That one's fun. Do we still do the Grinch night?
No.
Nah, not really.
No.
We had like 100 at one point.
We did.
We don't even put up Christmas lights anymore.
We have one inflatable we plugged in this year. The kids were like roasting John the other day. They're like, oh, I wonder what it's like to have Christmas lights. And John's like, I put up the inflatable. And Eli or Jesse were like, you didn't do that, Mom did that.
Eli. What else do we do?
So I have two favorites, and they both involve shopping. My most favorite is all the Salvation Army volunteering that we do at Christmas. So we did bell ringing for years. This year we got to organize their warehouse, and then the director invited the kids and I to participate in the distribution day, and we had 800 kids this year, and we got to be the runners to bring the gifts to the cars and pray with the moms and dads and wish them a Merry Christmas, tell them about the church services. And Jesse and my dad, he was at work that day, or he would have been there too, but so she was so thoughtful in allowing Bella and I to be the toy runners, and she gave Jesse the job of being the bike runner, mostly because he's the only 10-year-old boy. Everybody else volunteering was like 65 and up. And it was like a half block away where they had staged all these bikes, and our local law enforcement all combined to purchase a bike almost for like every kid. So Jesse was just running down the road all day with bikes, and he was like, it's so tempting. He was like, I just really want to ride these bikes, but he didn't. He just ran with them. So he got to always bring the bikes to the car, and it was unbelievable, considering we've been volunteering with Salvation Army at Christmas time for so many years, to get to be on that side of things.
Right.
But specifically, usually we have the kids choose a child their age and gender, and then we take them out to dinner, and then they shop for that kid. That's a really special night. And then my other favorite tradition is Secret Sibling, because John and I do the 4-gift rule, and then so there's only like one thing they want under the tree, and then Secret Sibling is like we give them a spending limit, and they get their secret sibling one thing, and without fail, that's their favorite thing every year, because nobody knows you like a sibling knows you. And it's a toy, and it's something fun, and it's like, LOL Palace that we wouldn't have, bought. And so it's always just something like plasticky and fun and shiny that they want. And so that's the last gift they give. Come on, camera, let me talk. So that's the last gift they give each other on Christmas, and it's just fun. There's joy all around. It's the time my kids are most selfless, and it's probably because they know that they're gonna get a thanks for the gift anyway. So, all right. My camera's twitching on us tonight, so I'll give you 2 questions to answer while I wrap these last couple things. Which one of you is the bad cop? Don't be weird. Just please don't be weird. Please just be normal. I feel like you're gonna give like an inappropriate answer.
That's such an inappropriate question.
No, stop it! See?
I'm joking.
No.
Alright, so anyway.
I can't be.
Okay.
You're gonna ruin my image online.
Okay, we're married. It doesn't. Alright, so it's honestly this is a good question, because
why did you ask that question?
It opens the door into something else. Okay, so when I was at UPS for all those years, I wanted to be the fun dad, and it was mostly because I was gone so much from the kids that when I got home, I didn't want to be the one enforcing discipline, because I had such limited time with them already. And this created a super unhealthy dynamic in our parenting relationship and in our marriage. So when I left UPS, it was finding the balance of having a role of being oh, I just got a cramp. I'm not used to sitting on the ground like this. Anyway. Yeah, it was super difficult, because now I'm trying to find my role as being a leader in the house and being a father to the kids, which sort of kind of commands respect in a way. And the kids really didn't have like a solid outlook on me as a disciplinary figure. So I'm using a lot of words just to say it was really hard, because Abby was seen as the bad cop for a long time. And
survival mode bad cop.
Yeah. So we've gotten a lot more balanced in it, and
we have gotten a lot more balanced, but I'm still probably the one who has a lower threshold.
Well, and mostly because you're here with them all the time.
Thank you. You're right. That is why.
You know, the mom, if you're a stay-at-home mom and you homeschool your kids, 90% of the time, your kids, if you ask them, they would say you're the bad cop.
Yeah.
And that's because you're there all day, and you have to be the one to push them to contribute and to be involved. So. And
I just get like sensory overload. So like, and John doesn't. John can be like playing guitar or watching TV and the radio's on, and I'm like, and then like the kids will be talking in the car when I'm driving, and I'm like, ah! So I think it's just like, there's a difference there in our ability to handle discipline and chaos a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
What have you learned to most deeply appreciate about one another in recent years?
That's a good question. You want to go first?
Yes, I need to think about it for a second. Definitely, I've known you since I was 14, 15 years old, so I've gotten to see you grow spiritually and just remain so committed to the Lord, and like I've gotten to live under the blessing of your leadership because you're always pursuing the Lord, and that has been a very safe place for me to be, which I appreciate. I don't think that like, I might not even tell you that enough, like just how, just there is just a comfort in the protection that you feel living under leadership that is pursuing the Lord. Not that I don't also pursue the Lord on my own and take, you know, that responsibility, but that definitely. And also, I was gonna say something else too. I guess that just like really would be the thing I appreciate the most. Just seeing you continue to pursue the Lord even when it's hard, mostly when it's easy, because I feel like that's the time when you just don't feel like you need to, when everything's smooth sailing, and I wake up and I see that your Bible was left on the table and you went to work and it's just a Tuesday, and that just feels like a very lovely thing as your wife.
I said this to Abby before, and she knows it. You know, I feel like as man, how do I word this without sounding like so like I feel like the picture of a man in the household, he's supposed to be like solid, right? And I'm not saying that I'm not, but I feel, oh, Brizzo's freaking out. I feel like Abby is like my rock, and if anything is going on in life that is definitely from outside or stuff that's going on inside our home, I can trust that Abby is going to be level-headed. She's going to stand her ground in faith and totally point my direction back on God. And she's just consistent, and she is consistent, steady, and super loving.
Love you.
I love you too.
We've come a long way since that first Bible study. Okay guys, thank you so much for rapping and chatting with us. Sorry that we didn't have as much time as we planned to have, but I know Jessica and Kevin had a lot more time to film tonight. They're filming tonight as well. So make sure you watch that video and continue your rapping at home. They are some of our really good family friends, and so I'm excited to be doing this collab with the husbands. And yeah, we will see you guys in our next video. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.